A river, a natural stream of fresh water that flows on land or inside caves towards another body of water at a lower elevation, such as an ocean, lake, or another river. A river may run dry before reaching the end of its course if it runs out of water, or only flow during certain seasons. Rivers are regulated by the water cycle, the processes by which water moves around the earth. Water first enters rivers through precipitation, whether from rainfall, the runoff of water down a slope, the melting of glaciers or snow, or seepage from aquifers beneath the surface of the earth. Rivers flow in channeled watercourses and merge in confluences to form drainage basins, areas where surface water eventually flows to a common outlet. Drainage divides keep rivers separated from other courses of water and causes upstream water within the confines of the divide to fall into the downhill stream. Rivers have a great effect on the landscape around them. They may regularly overflow their banks and flood the surrounding area, spreading nutrients to the surrounding area. Sediment or alluvium carried by rivers shapes the landscape around it, forming deltas and islands where the flow slows down. Rivers rarely run in a straight line, instead, they bend or meander. The locations of a river's banks can change frequently. Rivers get their alluvium from erosion, which carves rock into canyons and valleys. Rivers have sustained human and animal life for millennia, including the first human civilizations. The organisms that live around or in a river, such as fish, aquatic plants, and insects, have different roles, including processing organic matter and predation. Rivers have produced abundant resources for humans, including food, transportation, drinking water, and recreation. Humans have engineered rivers to prevent flooding, irrigate crops, perform work with water wheels, and produce hydroelectricity from dams. People associate rivers with life and fertility and have strong religious, political, social, and mythological attachments to them. Rivers and river ecosystems are threatened by water pollution, climate change, and human activity. The construction of dams, canals, levees, and other engineered structures has eliminated habitats, has caused the extinction of some species, and lowered the amount of alluvium flowing through rivers. Decreased snowfall from climate change has resulted in less water available for rivers during the summer. Regulation of pollution, dam removal, and sewage treatment have helped to improve water quality and restore river habitats. A river is a natural stream of water flowing within a channel that has defined banks. Nourished by various sources like precipitation, runoff, springs, and meltwater, rivers play a crucial role in Earth's water cycle, linking water evaporated from the sea to the land. Rivers also significantly shape landscapes through erosion and sediment deposition, creating valleys and other distinct topographic features. They serve as essential routes for explorers, traders, and settlers, and have been vital for human settlements and civilizations throughout history. The world's longest rivers include the Nile, Amazon, Yangtze, Mississippi, and Yenisei. Rivers typically begin from sources like precipitation, overland runoff, springs, seepages, or meltwater from snowfields and glaciers. They follow a channel with defined banks and flow into other bodies of water, such as oceans, lakes, or other rivers. The most important landform where a river enters a body of standing water is known as a delta. Rivers are crucial in shaping landscapes through erosion and sediment deposition, creating diverse fluvial features. Rivers shape the land through constant erosion and deposition. The water and sediment carried by a river system carve valleys and transport eroded material. Over time, this process creates distinct landforms, such as canyons and floodplains. Erosion occurs as the river's flow scours the surrounding rock and soil. The carried sediments act as tools, further grinding down surfaces. When the river's energy decreases, deposition occurs, forming features like deltas, alluvial fans, and sandbars. The balance between erosion and deposition sculpts the river's course and the surrounding landscape. People use rivers in a variety of ways, including for trade, agriculture, industry, and recreation. Rivers have been essential for irrigation for at least 5,000 years, particularly in East and South Asia. They also serve as a source of hydroelectric power, with many industrial nations maximizing their hydropower potential. Additionally, rivers are used for freshwater fisheries, houseboat living, and recreational activities, supporting millions of people, especially in East Asia. However, the exploitation of rivers can lead to problems such as water pollution from pesticides, herbicides, and industrial waste, which can harm riverine ecosystems. Rivers are essential to plants and animals. Plants and animals rely on rivers in various ways. Water source rivers provide a constant water supply for drinking and irrigation. Habitat rivers and riparian wetlands serve as habitats for diverse species, including fish, otters, and various plant species. Seed dispersal fish and other animals that live in rivers can aid in seed dispersal by consuming fruits and seeds, which are then spread via their feces. Nutrient delivery rivers transport essential nutrients to freshwater wetlands and other ecosystems, supporting plant growth and productivity. Ecosystem support riverine habitats sustain an abundance of prey, such as fish, crayfish, and crabs, which are food sources for animals. Rivers face increasing exploitation, leading to problems like disrupted ecosystems from channel improvements and canalization. Water pollution from pesticides, herbicides, and industrial waste alters biological activity, kills fish, and causes eutrophication. Climate change also impacts rivers through altered rainfall patterns, increased flooding and droughts, and reduced water quality from warmer temperatures, which can cause algal blooms. People are trying to solve these problems by using advanced waste purification technology and implementing government bans to check the discharge of dangerous substances into waterways. Fish ladders and fish locks are also being utilized to help salmon and other migrating fish bypass dams to reach their spawning grounds. A river is a natural flowing watercourse, typically composed of fresh water, that moves toward an ocean, sea, lake, or sometimes another river. In some cases, rivers flow underground and disappear into aquifers or cave systems, forming subterranean rivers. Rivers are fundamental features of the Earth's surface, playing a critical role in shaping landscapes, sustaining ecosystems, supporting human societies, and maintaining the global water cycle. Their dynamic nature is influenced by geological processes, climate, and human activity, which constantly reshape their courses and surrounding environments. Throughout history, rivers have been central to human civilization. Many of the world's earliest societies emerged along riverbanks, relying on rivers for drinking water, irrigation, transportation, fishing, and fertile soil. The Nile, Tigris, Euphrates, Indus, and Yangtze rivers, for instance, provided the necessary resources that allowed these civilizations to flourish. In modern times, rivers continue to hold immense value, supplying water for agriculture, industry, and domestic use, generating hydroelectric power, and offering recreational opportunities. Beyond their practical uses, rivers have significant cultural and spiritual importance, appearing in literature, religious practices, folklore, and art. Rivers form through a variety of natural processes. They often begin as small streams fed by rainfall, melting glaciers, or springs emerging from underground aquifers. Some rivers originate from lakes, which act as natural reservoirs. Once a river is established, it progresses through different stages of development. In the youthful stage, the river flows rapidly from highland areas, carving steep valleys and sometimes creating waterfalls or rapids. As it reaches the mature stage, the gradient becomes gentler, meanders develop, and the river begins to widen its valley through lateral erosion. In the old stage, the river exhibits a very gentle slope, broad floodplains, slow-moving waters, and extensive deposition of sediments, forming features such as oxbow lakes and deltas. The physical characteristics of a river vary depending on its location and stage of development. Rivers differ in length, width, depth, velocity, and discharge, which is the volume of water flowing through the river per unit of time. The upper reaches of a river tend to be steep and fast-flowing, while the lower reaches are slower and more prone to meandering. Chemically, Rivers carry dissolved minerals, nutrients, and salts that influence water quality and determine which aquatic organisms can thrive. Biologically, rivers support diverse flora and fauna, including fish, amphibians, invertebrates, and riparian vegetation. The biodiversity of a river system depends on factors such as water quality, flow regime, and temperature. Rivers can be classified in several ways. Based on flow regime, some rivers are perennial, flowing continuously throughout the year, while others are intermittent, only flowing during rainy seasons. Rivers can also be categorized according to their slope and velocity. Youthful rivers are fast-flowing with steep gradients, mature rivers have gentle slopes and develop meanders, and old rivers flow slowly across broad floodplains. The source of a river also provides a basis for classification, with some rivers fed by glacial meltwater, some by rainfall, and others by springs. Geographically, rivers can be mountain rivers, which are steep and erosive, or plains rivers, which are slow-moving and depositional. The sediment load carried by a river is another factor of classification, distinguishing between clear rivers with low sediment and silt-laden rivers rich in transported material. Rivers rarely exist in isolation. They form intricate systems composed of a main river channel, smaller streams or tributaries, and the surrounding drainage basin that collects water for the river. Tributaries converge at confluences, and as the river approaches its mouth, it may branch into distributaries, forming deltas. This network of channels ensures the distribution of water and sediment across a landscape, supporting both ecological and human communities. The functions and importance of rivers are manifold. Ecologically, rivers provide habitats for countless species of plants and animals, maintaining biodiversity and contributing to nutrient cycling. They sustain wetlands, recharge groundwater aquifers, and influence local climate conditions. Economically, rivers are indispensable for agriculture, providing water for irrigation and fertile soils through periodic flooding. Industries rely on river water for production processes, and hydropower plants harness the flow of rivers to generate electricity. Rivers also support fisheries, which are a crucial source of food for millions, and serve as natural transportation corridors. Beyond their practical uses, rivers hold deep cultural significance, often regarded as sacred in many societies. They are sites for rituals, festivals, and recreation, and have inspired art, literature, and folklore throughout human history. Rivers shape the Earth's surface, creating distinctive landforms through processes of erosion, transportation, and deposition. Erosion by rivers carves valleys, gorges, waterfalls, and rapids, while deposition creates floodplains, levees, deltas, alluvial fans, and oxbow lakes. These landforms evolve over time as rivers respond to changes in water volume, sediment load, and gradient, demonstrating the dynamic relationship between water and geology. Despite their significance, rivers face numerous threats from human activity and environmental change. Pollution from industrial, agricultural, and domestic sources degrades water quality, while over-extraction of water for irrigation or urban use reduces river flow and disrupts ecosystems. Deforestation and land use changes increase sedimentation and erosion, altering river morphology. Climate change exacerbates these challenges by modifying rainfall patterns, melting glaciers, and intensifying extreme weather events, which can result in both floods and droughts. Large dams and river regulation projects, while providing benefits like hydroelectricity and water storage, can also disrupt natural flow patterns, harm biodiversity, and displace communities. Effective river management is essential for sustaining their ecological, economic, and cultural functions. Integrated river basin management, which considers the river and its surrounding environment as a single system, is a widely advocated approach. Pollution control, afforestation along riverbanks, sustainable irrigation practices, and restoration of degraded river systems are key strategies to maintain river health. International cooperation is often necessary for rivers that cross national boundaries, requiring agreements to manage water resources fairly and sustainably. Some of the world's most significant rivers illustrate their diversity and importance. The Nile, the longest river, has been the lifeline of Egyptian civilization for millennia. The Amazon, with the largest discharge, supports unparalleled biodiversity and tropical rainforest ecosystems. The Ganges is sacred to millions in India and Bangladesh and sustains vast agricultural regions. The Yangtze River is central to China's economy, providing transportation, irrigation, and hydroelectric power. The Mississippi River remains a vital waterway in the United States, supporting commerce, agriculture, and ecological habitats. Rivers are also integral to the global water cycle, linking precipitation, runoff, evaporation, and groundwater recharge. They collect water from rainfall and melting snow, transport it across the landscape, recharge aquifers, and ultimately deliver it to seas and oceans, where the cycle begins anew. Through this process, rivers contribute to climate regulation, nutrient cycling, and the distribution of freshwater resources across the planet. Looking to the future, rivers face growing challenges. Climate variability is expected to increase the frequency and severity of floods and droughts, while urbanization encroaches on riverbanks, reducing natural floodplains and habitats. Biodiversity loss continues as aquatic species decline due to pollution, invasive species, and habitat degradation. Transboundary rivers also present political challenges, as upstream water use can affect downstream communities. Addressing these issues requires sustainable management practices, scientific research, community engagement, and policy frameworks that prioritize both ecological and human needs. In conclusion, rivers are far more than channels of water. They are lifelines that sustain ecosystems, support human civilizations, and enrich cultures. Their dynamic processes shape landscapes, transport nutrients and sediments, and create habitats that are home to countless species. Recognizing the vital roles rivers play in both natural and human systems is essential for their conservation and sustainable management. As the pressures of population growth, industrialization, and climate change continue to intensify, safeguarding rivers will remain a critical priority for ensuring ecological balance and human well-being. A river is a natural flow of fresh water that flows on or through land towards another body of water downhill. This flow can be into a lake, an ocean, or another river. A stream refers to water that flows in a natural channel, a geographic feature that can contain flowing water. A stream may also be referred to as a watercourse. The study of the movement of water as it occurs on Earth is called hydrology, and their effect on the landscape is covered by geomorphology. Thank you for watching this video.